talking MVP odds. Okay. Bryce Harper is the best player in baseball, plus 1,000 right now. I think it's the best bang for your buck. I mean, who's going to beat him?
I mean, if I'm a bet man, and Shohei, I know you're not a bet man.
Bryce Young, Andy, plus 4,000, comeback player of the year.
Coming back to like the locker room to get his knees iced down or what?
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. You know what that stands for. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Class, and joined by
Jabron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, and we, it's been a minute since we've talked UFC.
Yeah, it has been.
So we got to talk UFC once again.
We got to do it.
Heading on over to the Kingdom Arena in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Hot Atlanta don't have anything on the
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I don't think so.
And we're going to, but there has been a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
Which UFC always, loads up X,
they're pretty
Twitter.
good at doing that.
They
really are.
So a lot of videos have been coming out of Saudi Arabia and all those good things. Let's start with that welterweight bout.
Yeah.
A couple of Americans making the trip, heading over, squaring off. Kevin Gastelum taking on Daniel Rodriguez.
D-Rod.
And D-Rod appears to be... to me, the numbers point to him, but the odds are all over Gastelum.
Yeah.
He's at a minus 245. Jabron, why?
What really this fight comes down to is who's the better boxer, Andy. And I think despite his lengthy career, Kelvin is in a better place right here. D-Rod right now. He looked good against Chris Curtis, arguably beat him. I think he kind of got, a little bit of a screw job there. And then he has some real pop in his hands right now. So I think D-Rod's time at the top was short-lived, and he's shown, a little bit that he can get cracked. And so I think Kelvin is the better play here, obviously. And I'm not looking anything at this fight except for Kelvin Gastelum plus 350 for that KO. I think that's your best bet for this fight.
Really?
Plus 350 for a KO. I think he's going to knock D-Rod out. And Gastelum, he has a granite chin, so it's not going to happen the other way.
Okay.
It makes me lean towards Kelvin, and I believe it's going to be a knockout.
Gastelum looks like a guy that has to box his way out of trouble.
No doubt.
That's just how his body's shaped.
Yep.
And, I look at D-Rod, and I'm just looking into these stats here.
Yeah.
Significant strikes landed per minute.
Yeah.
He lands over 7.
Yep.
Gastelum lands only 3.5, almost doubles him up on significant strikes.
Yep.
So it's just kind of odd that I'm looking at these concrete numbers, and you're telling me that Kelvin is in a better spot to win by knockout.
And D-Rod has the reach, he has the leg reach, he has the height, he has, all of the statistics go towards D-Rod. I'm telling you, Kevin Gastelum is going to win this fight, and he's probably going to knock him out.
Well, Rodriguez at a plus 200, so I don't want to argue too much there. Should we move up the card?
Let's move out the card. One statistic I did want to throw out there is Kelvin win by percentages here. 41% knockout. D-Rod, on the other hand, only 16%.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna fall into that 41% for Kelvin. So that's what I like about this fight.
Yeah, and that's how the odds makers have it drawn up.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, all right, well, if we move up to the heavyweight bout,
yes,
a couple big Russians squaring off here. The number 3 contender in the world taking on the number 5 contender in the heavyweight class here, and that is Sergey Pavolvich. We're always talking about Sergey.
Yeah, Sergey.
Man, does he win by knockout quite often.
Yes.
Taking on Alexander Volkov, and he's kind of the opposite. This should be a very interesting match.
Yeah.
I was looking at average fight time, and you couldn't have a bigger discrepancy there.
Yeah, you really can't. You really can't.
By how these two guys square each other. Sergey's average fight time in his career.
Yeah.
2 minutes, 13 seconds.
Exactly, Andy. We all know that Sergey's going to come storming out of the gates.
Yeah.
Head down, swinging from side to side, trying to get, close, enter range, biting down on that mouth guard, just getting crazy.
Yep.
I'm going to be a little bit risky here, Andy.
Okay.
And I really like to pick Volkov here, Drago, as people would say, to tame Pavolvich at range with his kicks and beat him with punches with straight down the middle. I believe Volkov hasn't reached his full potential yet, and he's still filling out his giant frame, and he's still getting stronger. So I love Volkov here. I think Sergey is going to be a little, I think he's going to come in here a little overconfident in this fight, and I don't see why he should be, but I think he thinks he's going to knock him out, and I don't believe it because he's going to keep him at distance with these kicks that Sergey really doesn't get to see very often.
Yeah, when I was looking at that average fight time, Sergey's 2 minutes, 13 seconds.
Yep.
Volkov is at 12 minutes, 43 seconds, almost the entire 5 rounds. The 3 rounds if you're going 5-minute rounds in the undercard.
It's going to be an awesome fight. I cannot wait to see this fight. Obviously, if you're looking at what the odds makers think is going to happen, Sergey to win by knockout is at a minus 145 right now.
He's a minus 230 overall favorite.
Exactly, and they think he's going to win by knockout, and it definitely could happen. Anytime when these big guys get in here swinging fists, it can happen. So I'm just not seeing a lot of value at minus 145 for Sergey to win by KO. So I kind of have to look down the card a little bit.
Right.
Plus 195 for Alexander Volkov is a really good parlay piece, I think, Andy.
Yeah, and Alexander, he's got so much more experience. Both these guys have been around the block.
No doubt.
37-10 lifetime record. That's a lot of bouts in the UFC.
It is, and I just don't think he's going to get knocked out. I think he's a lot smarter than that. He's going to keep him at reach, and I think that that is going to prove hard for Sergey, and he's going to make a lot of dumb mistakes. Okay. And Alexander is going to take a hold of that. So I really like the plus 195 for Alexander Volkov to take this one down.
Sergey's just a scary dude to look at. I mean, 6'3", 260.
Yes, he is.
And he has an 84-inch reach. On the other side, Volkov is 6'7".
Yeah.
It has an 80-inch reach. Gives up 4 inches, even though he's 4 inches taller.
Yeah, it's crazy.
These two guys.
It's crazy.
They got a couple of different body makeups here.
They do.
All right, should we move up to the main
The Reaper.
Yes, sir. The number 3 contender in the middle weight class, Robert Whittaker, the Australian.
Yes.
He is your favorite at a minus 155, taking on another Russian. We just can't get away from these Russians. Aliskerov.
Yeah.
Is your underdog here, but not by much. 130, and I think we all see that, Whittaker's had a couple tough bouts, but that's against some elite competition.
Yeah, Andy. I just think that, the Reaper, I think a lot of people are, down on him because he's struggling bouts against the likes of Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, Paulo Costa, obviously his defeat against Duplessis. But I just think this is a really good bounce back fight for him. It was going to be another huge super fight with Chimaev, but he bowed out. Yeah. A lot of that going around. I'm so mad about UFC 303. No Conor McGregor. I'm kind of a rider for Conor, so I'm really mad about that coming up here at the end of June. But no, I love Robert Whittaker here to get back on pace, to get back in, fill those shoes. I know that Ikram here is the best guy that they could find on the block to throw at him in Saudi Arabia here, they're buying into his dominant record, which only includes one loss to who? Hazmat Chimaev, who he was supposed to fight. Right. So, no, my heart says Whittaker, and I think my wallet does as well. So, give me the Reaper. He's sitting right there right now at minus 155. I believe that will be going in the parlay later here. Yes.
Ikram has really good wrestling, grappling skills. Averages over 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, so about once every round. It's just that Whittaker is probably the best at defense.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best in the world.
So, it's really
just happens. It just happens.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to get away from Robert Whittaker in this spot. And I think he's going to be a little angry that he didn't get the fight he wanted.
No,
and he's going to take it on this guy.
This guy was that Chimaev was, just kind of a talker, and it seems that way. He's about out of 2 fights back to back, so it's hard not to say that. But I love Robert Whittaker. I think he's going to win. I think it's probably going to be by decision, which is kind of the way that he does stuff.
That's how
plays defense, puts a licking on him. That's at plus 250 right now, Andy. So I really like that value. Other than my parlay piece of the minus 155 for Robert Whittaker to win on money line.
Well, all right, Mr. Parlay Pounder, let's get into that parlay play.
Okay, it's 2 things that I've already talked about. Robert Whittaker minus 155 and Alexander Volkov at plus 195, Andy.
Okay.
I'm going down the card. Another American that I really like, Johnny Walker. We don't talk about him very much, but he's been in the UFC a long time. Really like him. He's at minus 112 right now. You put all those 3 together, plus 800, put 25 on that to win 225.
Okay,
Yep.
225.
Whittaker, Walker, Volkov. That is the parlay.
Just
all money line.
All money line. So not getting too exotic there.
Nope.
Just trying to string together a 3-legger.
3 winners.
Playing that money line.
Yeah, let's do it.
Take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.